Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I'm Tamara.
And I'm Sheena.
And today we're talking about where to find people to date.
Tamara was chatting to me earlier before we actually started recording the podcast, and she was talking about comfort zones and how it's so important to get out of your comfort zone. So Tamara, do you want to talk to our listeners about that?
Sure. As women, we have like a lot of pressure put on top of us. So we have like a lot of work pressure, family pressure, friend pressure, and a lot of the time we don't actually take time to take care of our own personal lives, to take care of us. And because of that, we can get into a rut. So we start to feel lonely. We start to feel like we can never meet the right person or that person isn't out there. But if we step back and actually take an objective look at our own lives, we see that we spend most of our time at work or we spend most of our time at home, not doing any activities where we're likely to meet people. And while there are good odds that you can meet someone at work, it's not always going to happen. So the first step in finding a good place to date is to get out of your house.
Absolutely. I want to stipulate that some of the places that we're talking about are online, but online in order to get offline, if that makes sense. Because you can find people online, but then it's so important that you're actually doing activities that aren't in front of your computer or your phone.
So today's list is going to do some more modern techniques, but we'll also look at some good old-fashioned places to find someone to date. Shall we get started?
Absolutely. So the first place on my part of the list is Meetup.
So meetup.com, for those of you that don't know, is a website that allows you to meet other people. So this can work for different aspects of your life. It can be for business events. It can be for social events like gaming. There's also dating events, and it's localized to where you are. So it is a global site. So you don't need to worry that this is just something that happens in the States or in, other bigger cities around the world, but it is something that you can find even in Johannesburg, South Africa, which, let me tell you, you don't find a lot of things here. And what's even nicer is that it can become even hyper-local, where you can set a radius around where you are to see if you can find events to your liking.
The nice thing about Meetup is that you're likely to connect with people who have similar interests to you. And connecting with people who have similar interests to you means that you're going to be able to expand your friend circle, your dating circle, that sort of thing. Very often, Meetup also has specifically women-focused or lesbian-focused groups. And if there isn't one, it's really easy to just start one. So don't be afraid to start something that you think is interesting, because there's a good chance that others will find it interesting too.
Yeah. And so just focus it around something that you love, whether it's books, Dungeons and Dragons, or whatever it is. Or hey, set up a dating group. Why not?
It does help in this sort of circumstance to live in a liberal area, a city where being a lesbian is not unheard of.
No, sure. But, as always with all our podcasts, do stuff that's going to keep you safe. Don't engage in anything where you could be in danger. These are ideas to help people get out of their usual routine and into the world where they are more likely to meet people and to meet that one.
Absolutely.
Or two or three.
Another thing, if you're at university or even if you're taking a short course or whatever it is, look for groups in that learning institution that would be of interest to you. There are often social clubs, sports things you can join that will give you connections to other people. And while you may not necessarily find somebody to date, you may find some friends who would know somebody to date. It's all about connections.
Yeah, and even if you're not at university, a lot of suburbs, towns, whatever, have local sports leagues or sports clubs. So join up, and even if you don't know the sport, they'll usually have some sort of beginner type thing. Join in. Go join your local softball team or field hockey.
Or connect with Darlene Vendegna online and ask her where the nearest pickleball league is. Apparently, it's great fun, relatively easy to play, and there are lesbians there.
What is pickleball?
You really need to listen to my pickleball podcast.
Okay. It's got a fun name.
Yeah, Darlene talks at length about it. It's a new game that she is a huge fan of, and it's kind of cute.
Okay. So, another thing that you can do to meet new people and potentially date is to volunteer. So, find something that you're interested in and go volunteer. So, at your local SPCA, if you're into animals, helping orphans, I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you're into.
Animal shelters. There's a reason that animal shelters and lesbians are pretty synonymous. Absolutely. Go volunteer at your local animal shelter because you're probably going to find a lesbian there. Don't discount women-run activities in community centers and places like that. We tend to gravitate towards women-run things.
Yeah, I think that's a good advice. Try find something that is woman run, because law of averages is that you will find someone who dates women there. And while you're at these places that have a lot of women, remember to drop hints. If someone doesn't know you're a lesbian or that there's some potential interest going on there, it's never going to happen. So, make sure that, you're putting yourself out there in some sort of way when you are at these events.
That is advice from a femme. If you look like me, everyone knows. Another thing that people say is pretty prominent in the lesbian sphere is art school. So anything art related, which actually makes a lot of sense. We like to connect with our inner artist, whether we're drawing or painting or learning to take photos. We are a creative bunch. So take a short course. Go enroll in art school. See what's up. Not only will you learn a fantastic new skill, but you may make some friends or find somebody to date.
Thank you for being an awesome listener and supporting Tilt, the channel that brings you all the podcasts you want to hear. You're listening to Tilt. Find more podcasts on thelesbiantalkshow.com.
The next thing is go take a hike.
Nice.
You do find hiking events or hiking groups that are woman focused, or even city walks. Go join one. Again, it's one of these types of things where you do get a larger amount of lesbians joining in.
We do love to walk. At least the sporty ones.
Yes. Well, yeah, if you're into sporty spices, go join some sort of sporty activity.
Well, that's actually a good way to open up for other kinds of sports. Don't discount sports. Lesbians fall into two very distinct sectors. The sports lovers, and there are many of us, and then the I don't quite understand sports folks, who I happen to fall into.
Raise his hand.
But if you are a sporty person by nature, go find women's sports teams to join. Go watch women's sports even. There's bound to be something happening in your area, and let me tell you, there's going to be at least one lesbian there.
And if there's, I think, we're on the sports topic, is if there is a big international event like a soccer World Cup, rugby World Cup, whatever it is, that is focused on women, obviously, try join in the viewing parties or whatever for those kinds of sports. Again, you're more likely to not only meet people who have similar interests to you, so which opens you up to finding new friends, but there are also some nice dating options there.
I just discovered that South Africa has an international women's cricket league, like, the Proteas, but for women.
Really? I knew we have rugby and hockey, but I didn't know we had...
I just discovered this because we just lost to Australia, which made the Australians very happy. Didn't make me very happy.
For those of you who don't know, South Africa and Australia are huge, competitors when it comes to cricket.
We're very, rival nations in this regard, yes. Another thing, apparently, because I haven't been able to check this because I'm not on Instagram, but there's apparently an account for LGBTQIA personals on Instagram that's very good and good to follow.
Well, that's quite cool. So, that gives you a different, option that combines, technology with old-timey classifieds.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's kind of cool.
To be like pina coladas.
So go look that up, and that may be something for you.
And my next tip is to attend concerts, even smaller concerts for bands that appeal to lesbians.
Absolutely.
That's a good place to find the right crowd.
So off the top of my head, you've got Tegan and Sarah, you've got Indigo Girls, got Pink. I know she doesn't qualify as a lesbian, but come on, lesbians love Pink.
No, she's got a huge lesbian
Huge
following.
lesbian following.
Dixie Chicks are out with new music at the moment.
So there are a bunch. There's also some UK based, and I'm pretty sure there's Australian based bands.
This one is one that's slightly harder if you're not in the bigger centers. But hey, for those of you who are lucky enough to be, go get some music in.
Apparently, there's a place in the US called Cherry Grove. Cherry Grove is a hamlet in the town of Brookhaven, Suffolk County, New York. And apparently, there are like a bazillion lesbians that go to this place. This is like lesbian mecca.
Well, we need to put that on our to-go-to list.
Absolutely, because I was just heading to Provincetown, but now I see that there's Cherry Grove too, so we need to go there also.
Yeah, we'll need to do a tour of Lesbian America, I think.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I can meet everybody.
That'd be a lot of fun.
It would be. All right. Never underestimate the power of a woman who reads. Women who read are smart and brilliant and make my heart beat just a little bit faster. So go join a book club.
And remember, Sheena is not available.
Did I sound like I was making myself available?
Just in case people were like, the way to your particular heart is to show how much they love to read.
There's only one way to my particular heart, and that's just to be you.
Aw.
Anyway, join a book club. Here's a cool fact. The TLR activities have actually formed a couple of relationships. Like, people have met because we've been talking about books and stuff, met online, started talking, and actually at least one of them that I know of has gotten married. So I'm so chuffed.
No, it's true. As a matchmaking service, TLR is quite good.
We are global on Facebook, TLR chat group where we talk about books endlessly. Come find, there's like so many women on there. Amazing. And in fact, there's a couple of guys on there too who like to talk about lesfic. And they're all darlings.
Plus, it's got a monthly book club as well attached to it. So you get the book club aspect of it too.
Absolutely. If you want to do a face-to-face book club and you don't have a lesbian specific one in your area, think of starting one, or join a feminist book club, because that's also likely to have lesbians in it.
Just one or two. And then, something we shouldn't overlook is looking at your immediate network of friends and family. And if you do know someone who is a lesbian, who's gay, or who, identifies somewhere on the sort of queer spectrum, they may know other lesbians. Or they may have friends who know lesbians. Maybe you can host a small party, or maybe you can just get them to introduce you. But it's just like another way of getting into contact with more lesbians, or at least women who date women.
Absolutely. Here's an important key to that, is to have a big network of friends. It doesn't have to be like Sex and the City kind of friends, where they're on top of each other all the time, talking about each other's sex lives. It can just be like a network of, good friends who talk about books.
I think you just described the L word, not Sex in the City. A group of friends who are on top of each other all the time.
Fair enough.
No, okay, but seriously, yes. And I think that's been quite a common theme throughout all of these tips that we've given, is that it's not just about dating, it's actually getting out into the world and meeting people in general, because the more people you meet, the more likely you are to find someone that you're willing to date, or hey, even finding a friend. So don't go into it saying, okay, I'm going to go to this event because I'm definitely going to find someone to date or to hook up to. Go to the event, have fun, and let things happen. Because you don't want to be emanating desperation or coming across too strong at first. You be you. Be chill, be fun, be lovable, be you. And then I think the last one is something that's grown in immense popularity over the last few years, and it's probably the main go-to for dating, which is online dating. Whether it's through some sort of website or through an app like Tinder or Bumble or Match, whatever it is. And if you aren't into these kinds of things because you feel like there's some sort of stigma, there really isn't. Most of us live a lot of our lives online, so it's completely natural that we would be finding partners online.
There are a couple that cater well for lesbians. Tinder, Her and OkCupid are some of the ones that come up.
I found one called pinkcupid.com, which is apparently lesbian focused and about being safe.
Okay.
And there's Zoe and Leslie. I like Leslie. I like a good pun. Yeah, but I mean, Google it. Google lesbian dating app. There are a ton. So go try them. Go see which one works best for you. And let us know.
Absolutely. Email us on podcast@thelesbiantalkshow.com.
And don't forget to rate us on Apple Podcasts. Your rating helps us reach more women-loving women, and it helps to grow the network, which helps everyone to, be more accepting of lesbians and for new lesbians to be okay with being lesbian.
Totally true. I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara.
And you've been listening to Let's Talk About It. Next episode, we talk about how to make the first move, what to say, how to do it, and what you should absolutely avoid at all costs. That's all for this week. Bye.
Bye.